Alright, this is your lecture on the Essay 1 peer review and integrating feedback into your essay. Alright, we're going to start with the peer review. Alright, first off, you'll get the notification in your dashboard to do sidebar when the peer review lists. The day after you submit your rough draft, you'll get the notification there. You will also get an email notification. It will also be on the sidebar of the assignments details page. Okay, so that'll be how you find those. So don't delete that email notification. Also, when you click into Canvas, it's going to do a little pop-up thing. Don't delete those. You need to have those in order to get into your peer reviews. Okay. You can also click back onto your assignments where you submitted your rough draft, and the peer review will appear in there. All right. So you're going to go over this peer review sheet. The reviewer is yourself. The author is the person who you are peer reviewing, which I've set it to anonymous, so you're probably not going to know the name, so you can just leave it blank if you don't. Does the title make you want to continue reading this paper? If it says something like Essay 1 or it's just the topic, then that's not exciting. Write that on there. Introduction. Does the paper have an intro that makes you want to continue to read the paper? Identify the thesis, identify the essay map. Now, if their thesis and their essay map is connected by a because, you can just write that on that top line, okay? You don't have to separate it into two things, or you can write the thesis statement up till you get to the because and then finish it on the next line. That's fine as well. Does the paragraph have a topic sentence? Yes or no? Does it follow the point example format? Yes or no? Do the examples used convince you that this paragraph is true? Are they relevant to that topic sentence? Do they go back to this essay map and thesis? Same thing for body 2 and body 3. The conclusion. Do the examples used convince you that this paragraph is true? Did they follow that thesis? Is the conclusion effective, or is it boring and in a rush to be done? Does it refer back to that thesis statement? Is it a conclusion for real, or is it just a ramble of a bunch of sentences like they're just trying to get done with this essay? All right, additionally, as a proofreader for this paper, please check for the following as you read and answer these questions. Subject-verb problems, spelling and word confusion errors, sentence errors such as comma splices, run-ons, and fragments, sentences that make no sense, capitalization errors, other problems with mechanics, the grammar you may observe, such as run-on sentences, sentence fragments, comma splices, etc. Of course, that's mentioned right here, isn't it? Right? But again, I want to re-emphasize that, okay? So anything that dangling modifiers, misplaced modifiers, anything like that, you want to look for those things, okay? So how do you identify those things? Well, you can simply say, like in paragraph 2, sentence 3, you have a run-on sentence. Paragraph 4, sentence 1, you have a fragment. You can do it that way, okay? Now, when you go to put in your peer review information, what you're going to do is you're going to go, of course, you can write your other stuff in. So you're going to go hit the copy button. Then you're going to go to the comments section of the peer review. And then you're going to hit paste. Okay, we're not going to do that here, but then you would just hit paste. Okay, and you're going to do it in the comments section. All right, and then you can identify these things up underneath that. All right? So that'll be how you do that. And then you hit the submit button. All right? You're going to see that there's a peer review assignment. You do not need to make a submission there. That box is only there for me to give you credit for either doing or not doing the peer review assignment. It's basically an empty box for you. You don't have to do anything with it. I can see whether or not you did your peer reviews. Okay? So you don't have to do anything in that box. You don't have to submit anything to that box. Don't even fool with that box. It's simply for me to go in there and write either complete or incomplete on it. All right? So, where do you find this peer review sheet? It's an attachment in modules. It's labeled essay number 1, the example essay peer review sheet. It's up underneath that empty peer review box, and you just answer these questions. You place those answers in that comment section, remember, of the draft you are reviewing, okay? If you don't submit a draft, you will not be assigned a peer review. Now, I'm going to explain the math. You don't submit a draft, you're minus 5 points. You don't submit a draft, you can't do a peer review, so you're minus another 5 points. That means you start your essay out with a 90 points. 90 points, okay? Now, if you didn't appear at a conference, that means you're already down 5 points, so then you'd be down 15 points at the start of your essay, before I even read your essay. So you want to think about that before you don't submit a rough draft and you don't do a peer review, all right? So how do you integrate feedback into your essay? Okay, well, first I want you to think about the word prompts. I give you the word prompts edited and give you suggestions on how to make those better. Where it's changing a fragment into a sentence, or your passive voice into active voice, or rearranging your sentences to sound a little better, or pointing out comma splices or run-on sentences and fixing those, or whatever. If you see there that those are errors that you typically make, then those are things that you might want to consider looking over on your papers. Secondly, I'll be looking at your outlines starting tomorrow on Monday and Tuesday and leaving you some feedback there. Pay attention to the feedback that I leave you. I expect you to look at that feedback and use it as you're working on your drafts. And then again, when you're working on your final papers. You may not get a chance to work on it as you do your drafts, but by the time you get to your final essay, you should have taken a look at that. You take what I say and you integrate it. You put it into, you use it for your papers. You don't ignore what I'm telling you. That's a bad idea to ignore the instructor, don't you think? So then you would use that to improve your paper. You take the things that's being done on this peer review sheet. If, say, in body 2, does this paragraph have a topic sentence, and the peer reviewer wrote no, well, you go look at body 2 and find out why they wrote that. Can they not recognize what you consider to be your topic sentence? If they don't, then you might want to look at that and try to figure out why they don't recognize that as your topic sentence. Does your topic sentence not in any way resemble the number 2 thing that's in your essay map? If it does not, then you might want to rewrite that topic sentence, okay? So those are the things you want to kind of look for. If they're telling you that you've got spelling and word confusion errors in paragraph 3, sentence 4, then you might want to go and look at that and fix it. Now, you need to understand something. Whenever I go to grade your essays, I look to see, did you listen to me when I made comments on that outline? Did you pay attention to what your reviewer said about your paper? I do take those things into consideration when I'm grading you. So it is very important that you do attempt to integrate your feedback from all of these situations into your papers. If you don't, then I'm going to go, well, me and your peer reviewer told you that you had this problem and you did nothing. And so when you do nothing and it's something that's worth points, I'm not going to give you any leeway about it. Now, if you tried to correct the problem and still were unable to correct the problem, then I might be a little more lenient about subtracting the points. So you want to keep those things in mind, okay? Now, that being said, say your peer reviewer gives you some advice and you feel like it's bad advice. You do ultimately still have the choice of rejecting advice, whether it's mine or the peer reviewers. If you feel that it's bad advice or it doesn't fit in with what you think you need to be doing, you do ultimately have the right to reject it. But be careful, think logically. If you really do feel that it's not appropriate for your paper, then you do have the right to say, you know, I don't think they're getting the full grip on this, on what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'll just revise what I need to say so that my meaning is clearer, but I'm keeping this. You have that choice. You know, you always do. So just keep in mind, though, that when you make those choices, you better be sure about what choice you are making, okay? Because the point of this is to always make sure that your paragraphs, your sentences, everything supports that thesis and that essay map, okay? So that's the end of your lecture for the peer review and integrating feedback into your essays. Bye-bye.